You can see God in anything got reflections in. I can find God in anything got reflected in. You can see God in anything got reflections in. I can find God in anything got reflected in. You can see God in anything got reflections in. I can find God in anything got reflected in. You can see God in anything you're reflecting. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting. They eyes to see the world they know outside. I can close my eyes and see how red and way beyond. When these trials my life are heavy and these obstacles get hard, feeling like I need some answers, I just go and talk to God. I just go and talk to God when I'm looking for guidance. Need more than sight, need vision, direction when I'm blind. Then I start the conversation with the voice I hear inside me. And that conversation starts with a voice inside that sounds just like me when I talk to God. You can see God in anything, your reflection. God, I can find God in anything. When I talk to God, you can see God in anything. When I talk to God, I find God in anything. When I talk to God, my daddy said don't never assume, ask questions. It's ironic it was that advice that helped the song happen. It was also that advice that led me to my life's blessings. That same advice helped me make it through life's lessons. It was that advice that separate grown-ups away from children. That advice be the difference from knowing or just believing. It was that advice that brought the gavel down on my decision of breaking the mental chains of these men.
So family, y'all come on in here, share the video. Y'all listen to the sounds of Chief Khaled.
Why we do it with these religions, the fact that COVID's killing while all of these guys is missing. Peekaboo, guys playing games with you. I'ma just assume he ain't got no COVID miracle. Maybe he ran out after making the donkey talk. Or the stories about a guy walking on water sides. A distraction to keep you away from you. And to look outside for a guy when God is inside of you. When you close your eyes at night to pray the voice you talking to. When you ready to face the truth, you realize that voice is you. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything your reflections in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflected in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflected in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflected in.
Yeah, y'all feeling that? Y'all feeling that? Yeah. All right, welcome back to another installment of When the Pastor Has Questions. I'm your host Eli Taylor, and those sounds y'all just got finished listening to, that's my friend Chief Kali. You can find God in anything your reflections in. You can find God in everything you reflected in. You can. Hey, y'all support Chief Kali. He out here with the lyrics, with the type of music, that hey, I can't say too much, right? Y'all see what's happening to your boy, right? But that's the kind of music we would have out here on our streets if that type of industry supported, positivity among people that look like me. Let's say it that way. Is that cold enough for you? Is that cold enough? Okay, so tonight we're gonna take a little dip, not even a dive, but we're gonna go into this whole thing about Halloween. Today is Halloween. I don't know. I may or may not. I haven't seen too many children close to this area. I may or may not get some knocks on the door. And unfortunately, I ain't got nothing for them. Don't mean I'm against Halloween. I'm not a holiday person. I just haven't. I'm just didn't pay no attention to it. So tonight, though, as always, my question is for the believers and Christians, and I know some of y'all out there taking kiddos around, getting y'all catch the replay of this if y'all out there doing thing, enjoying yourself, enjoying your night. But if you're a Christian, are you going out tonight? Are you out right now? Are you trick or treating? Should Christians celebrate Halloween? Should Christians celebrate Halloween? Now, there are a few things that one needs to do before tackling this subject, or I think to properly understand where I'm going to come from this evening, one of the things I want to invite you to do is to have a good understanding of Romans 14. Okay, Romans chapter 14. For you Christians, you should know that. But if you don't have a good understanding of Romans 14, hopefully I'll get to it. And because we're going to talk about whether or not this day means anything, and can you regard this particular day, Halloween, can you regard the day to Jesus, or to the God of the Bible, to the Christian God? Um, but we need a little bit of background, right? So Halloween didn't start when you got here. Halloween may not be, the history of it is not what you remember. There is a real history behind this. Now, I think I'll go ahead and uh, read some of these installments. I went and did a little bit of history research, and I'm going to give you at least the type of sites where I got this stuff from. Some I like history.com. Some will say, "Oh well, the History Channel don't tell the truth or whatever." I'm just going off of the widely accepted, accredited, whatever approved of sources that most people will know. And we're talking about Halloween, and we're taking a dip. We're not taking a dive, right? Got a little bit from the Encyclopedia Britannica too. So just going to give you those two histories right quick on Halloween. If you're Christian, listen up to what this is. So the History Channel. Well, let me start with the one that's before that predates what we're going to talk about there in the History Channel reference. So Halloween is a contraction. A lot of people don't know that. The word itself is a contraction of the phrase All Hallows Eve. So the contraction of that is Halloween. All right. It's a holiday. It's observed on, the 31st tonight, which is today. Today is October 31st of 2022. And then going further, it was the evening before what was called All Saints Day. We'll get into All Saints Day in a little bit. Also, the celebration marks the day before the Western Christian Feast of All Saints and initiates the season of All Hallow Tide. It's all one word, but y'all can go look this stuff up, which lasts 3 days and concludes with All Souls Day. Okay. All right. Now, the other thing that you need to know, that you'll find out when looking up what is Halloween, where it came from, about 2,000 years ago, in Northern Ireland, or in Ireland, the Celtics, okay, used this day to venerate the dead among them. Probably much like what some of y'all would call out their ancestor worship. Some of you would call it ancestor worship. Others probably wouldn't call it worship, but just recognizing where you came from, and giving a sense of veneration and respect to those who came before you, and maybe some things that you appreciate. Maybe you knew a certain individual, whatever. So, but giving that same honor, respect, there were different beliefs that around this night was the veil that was between the living and the dead was most thin. Okay. Now keep in mind, this is coming from Northern Ireland, it's coming from the Celtics. This was right around the time of this was the last harvest. So you've done your planting, and this is going to be the last harvest for the year. If anything grows, this is it, because now we get ready to go into a season where nothing grows. Okay. Keep that in mind too, because for the Celtics, their new year was that up and coming season, because they had a year, they've been planting, and now boom, they hit part of the year, or a new year. Things die, and then we're going to start anew later, but things have to die so that they can start new. So you have these people out there, and this is what they are doing with their holidays. So we know, let's get to the History Channel. Now the History Channel lets us know how Halloween and kind of like how most of us Americans know it. In the 8th century, a guy named Pope Gregory the Third, okay, he designated November 1st. Y'all know how the Catholics venerate their saints and they respect their saints. And once somebody rises to whatever sainthood is in the Catholic religion, so this was supposed to be the day, November 1st, as a time to honor all of those saints. Of course, the normal one, Saint Peter and the rest of them. But all saints were to be honored November 1st. Um, so soon, All Saints Day incorporated some of the traditions of, and I hope I say this right, Salahim, or Samhain. That was the Celtic, basically the Celtic way of saying, or that's what they call their Halloween. The evening before was known as All Hallows Eve. Okay, so he is Pope Gregory in about, I think it was the eighth. Was it the 8th century? Thought I had, yeah, in the 8th century. So during the 700 sometime, he says, "Hey, we're gonna go ahead and venerate all the saints." Now, this was supposed to be a good thing, respected, but they're dead. These saints are dead, but we're gonna call respect upon their name and honor them on November 1st. But the day before All Saints Day became known as All Hallows Eve. Okay. So this was supposed to be the day, the night, the draw between when the living and the dead could meet. Now, over time, y'all know how things have changed. Now you look at what's surrounding Halloween. It's kind of just really a fun thing in America, getting dressed up, doing the different things. But our question here tonight, is this okay for a Christian to be celebrating? Is it, and what is celebrating? Are you celebrating it when you get a knock on your door as a Christian and you actually give some candy? Did you just celebrate Halloween? Or maybe you out trick or treating. All right. And I thought I had some information here about the trick or treat. I may not have time to get to too much of that. So, how has it changed in the church? Y'all remember some years ago? Just think about it. Some years ago, I didn't so much have it growing up. I'm born in '82, but church folk would straight up tell you, no, that's the devil's day. I think I got a video here we should watch in a little bit. Let me talk a little bit more about it. But they would tell you, no. Y'all see that that's changed over time, right? That's not what they're doing in churches no more. Right now, you have this kind of toned down on the gory side of Halloween in order to present um as just a fun time to make fun, dress up as some make believe character or some maybe even a real character, just playing make believe, using your imagination, whatever. And therefore, that's what it's changed into, right? It's a harmless day. It didn't used to be like that. It didn't used to be like that. But it's so-called changing now. Can the Christians celebrate such a day? This is how it has changed. And in the Christian church, this is how everything has changed. The music has changed. And when you go to the Christian get togethers, everything has changed. Hopefully, I'll do a show here. There is supposedly a whole Christian club in Atlanta. Just like the clubs you used to go to, yeah, that was playing Lil Jon and everything like that. Except that in this club, it looks the same, but they're just playing, uh church music, so to speak, away. But anyway, this is one way that they have changed the day. And one of the things I know that they did in the churches of Christ, or still do, is something called a trunk or treat, or trunk and treat. What happens? The one I kind of remember being a part of when I was still in the church is adult members from the congregation volunteer, okay, to decorate their trunk, perhaps in some type of biblical scene or theme. It could be whatever. It could be the crucifixion. It could be Jesus praying in Gethsemane. It could be Moses getting tablets. It could be Noah building the ark, the flood after or before, the animals, whatever. It could be whatever theme. Now the kids were to come by and be able to articulate what it was they're seeing in a theme and perhaps where it come from. And then the persons, whoever card it was, they had some candy and they would either maybe give candy out to maybe the right answers and then give everybody some candy, but maybe a little extra if their particular trunk calls for some type of trivia. And that was it. Different adults volunteered. That's what they did. Had the trunks open in the parking lot of the church. The kids were dressed up. Oh yeah, the kids were dressed up as they came to the trunk, and they're different. And what it was considered was, well, this is a safe environment. This is a safe environment from all the crazy stuff that could be going on if you take your kids to uh throughout the neighborhood. It wasn't as safe. So the churches wanted to provide a situation where if folk are gonna celebrate the day, and we'll get to whether or not why the churches think it might be okay today for them to celebrate the day. But yeah, it go from there, and then we actually turn it into an evangelistic tool. Yeah, you turn it the trunk or treat or Halloween into an opportunity to gain people because you're gonna have this event. You want to tell people at work. If you're a member of this church, you want to tell the people at work if they want somewhere safe to bring their kids on Halloween. You can bring them to the church parking lot, huh? They go to the different and they learn about the Bible, huh? Don't that sound good? That sound real good, right? We're gonna teach them about the Bible, and they're gonna get some candy. Maybe we'll have a costume contest. Who got the best Batman? Who got the best Spider-Man? And do all kind of fun things for the kids. But yeah, the kids thought it was fun, but it's also now an evangelistic tool to pull the parents in to grow the church. You see how that works? You see, this is Halloween is being used for that even in the church today. All right, so let me go on to point number two, and that's something for y'all think. Let me look at some comments. Hey, we used to have Hallelujah night at church. I tell us more about the Hallelujah night. I don't know much about it, but tell us more. This might be a good time to watch the video. And also, y'all heard the video. I'm gonna play uh the song on the way out, Talk to God by Chief Kali. Y'all please support what we are doing over here. That brother is very talented, so we want to continue to uplift it. What I'm gonna do though, I want to play video. We'll watch a little bit. I'll probably stop it a little bit of the ways in, but y'all just rock with me. Let me get ready to share my screen. Christians and Halloween is what this has to do with, and I hope it's gonna play. It hasn't loaded.
I think that's totally fine.
Let me rewind that. Hopefully y'all are able
Pastor
to hear this.
Shane Idleman, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's good to be here.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about. Halloween is on the docket, and the question that comes to mind for me, and it's the $1 million question: should Christians celebrate Halloween? What say you?
Well, I think you're springboarding off. I write an article at ShaneIdleman.com on this topic where people can get a little bit more information. But I think it's all, of course, in the language and in the heart. So should Christians celebrate Halloween? No, not with the current theme of death and horror and witches and warlocks and the root of Halloween, the paganism, the Celtic practices. It was actually a holiday for the spirits, the spirits of the dead and the demonic realm. And so,
just so y'all know, I have not completely watched this whole thing myself, but so I'm kind of hearing some of this stuff for the first time, just like maybe you are. But notice he straight up said no, but he's looking at it through today's lenses. Let me go ahead and play. I'm try to get through the video.
So No, Christians should not entertain this darkness or be entertained by the darkness. So just the general statement. Now, however,
can't let y'all. Not only should you not deal with the darkness or be intertwined with the dark, you should not be entertained by the darkness. That I think that would include horror movies too. So if you're a Christian, you should not be entertained. Is that what he's saying? Let's play. I'll get his context, but that's what it's sounding like. That's where it's going.
However, was what I've talked about before. Can we redeem the theme of Halloween? In other words,
Okay.
Hey, Home Depot has all these gory things, and everywhere I go, but we're going to remember, kids, we're going to remember that Jesus overcame the darkness. So if a family puts up fall decor or eats some candy, or, it's not, that's not the focus is not on the evil and on the spirit. So I think that's where people get confused. There's a drawing a line to the sand, nothing to do with pumpkins. Now, if you study the jack-o'-lantern and what was put outside their door to ward off. So the whole concept is really not good. But if you buy a pumpkin and cook some seeds with your family and have a good night about it, remember what Jesus did, eat some Snickers bars and have fun with it, I think that's totally fine. And actually, according to Romans 14.
Y'all heard what he said? Sit around the fire, eat some Snickers bars, and talk about what Jesus did on Halloween. You got to use the Halloween. And by the way, what he was saying about jack-o'-lanterns, let me see if I can remember. So that jack-o'-lantern thing, y'all can go and look it up. But this was an individual, I think his name was Jack, and he fooled the devil. He fooled the devil, and when he died, because he had played a trick on the devil, God would not let him in to heaven. And the devil would not let him into hell, so he was doomed to roam, the earth for all eternity. And the people, I want to say it was the Celtic people, had that legend, so they started carving faces and turnips to ward off Jack's spirit. But then when they left, because there was a potato famine, I can't remember what year this was, and when the Irish folk came over to America, they started using pumpkins instead of the turnips, carving little faces, and that's where the tradition of the jack-o'-lantern ended up coming from. So that's what he's speaking of when he says you shouldn't have a jack-o'-lantern, because if you're a Christian and you decorate a jack-o'-lantern and you sit outside your door, he's saying this is where that comes from. You shouldn't be using the jack-o'-lantern to ward off any evil spirits, right? Because you are covered in the blood of Christ, or you could pray that away. And then some of y'all believe you could use a crucifix, whatever. So listen, that's what he's speaking of.
I would say it falls under that category of, if you don't feel good about it, don't do it. If you do, then celebrate Christ and what he's done. But no, I don't think we can celebrate that theme. So when Christians have witches and warlocks and dress up as witches and warlocks and go to parties and alcohol and things, and that's just not a good spot to go. But you have one side that's nothing to do with pumpkins or fall decor. Even if they're not gonna like this discussion we're having. And then you have the other side that is just doesn't even matter. God doesn't care, and I think that's dangerous too. So trying to find that middle ground is where we need to be.
Well, and the article you mentioned, that is actually why I reached out to you. You and I have been friends for a long time, and the article is really great.
I'm probably not gonna get through this whole video because he just said middle ground. But middle ground to a Christian is what? Now, one thing I used to, you can't. There is no such thing as middle ground. You either with Christ or what? Mm-hmm. What's the middle ground on a day that came from a situation that Christians automatically are barred from participating in because it has to do, number one, the focus of Halloween was not Christ. As a Christian, you should be doing your work in order to further the cause of Christ or whatever. And it's different texts and stuff I used to spew out for that. But anyway, he's splitting hairs, isn't he? Probably so. I don't. Let me see if I can play some more of this because this maybe they building up something even better. But already, y'all, I'm having some issues here.
You wrote it, I think, in 2012 the first time, and you've updated it.
Right.
And it really strikes the balance that you just spoke to. So I would encourage people to go to your website and read that article and check it out because there's so much good insight in there. Now, this is going to sound like kind of a silly question because you've already kind of mapped it out.
Right.
But why do you think Christians are so, I mean, there's such, I can't think of another issue, in fact, outside of the rapture that so divides Christians in this way, where people just get very worked up about it. It becomes very difficult to even have a conversation about Halloween. Why do you think this becomes one of those issues that is just so elevated in that infighting?
Now, I don't know what he's gonna say, but I'm gonna go here with that question. It becomes elevated for the same reason when non-believers like myself or any of the folk that are watching this right now, it goes like that because people get caught up in their emotions. And you're gonna have Christians on both sides of the fence. You're gonna have Christians that are going to be very emotional about the other Christians that are celebrating Halloween because it's of the devil, it's not of the Lord, and blah 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 blah. And you're gonna have other Christians say they infringing upon my liberties, and I'm not worshiping no devil. I'm just having fun with my kids, and that's all we doing. Now that's what I'm saying. People get so caught up in their emotional attachments, okay, on both sides. But and now that he's going to say that they shouldn't be doing certain things, you have people that have things they want to carve the pumpkin, okay, and sit it outside and light a candle in it. They want to do that. That's part of their festivities around that time of year, and they've grown up doing that as a perhaps that's just part of the thing. It's almost like having a Christmas tree, or rather having Christmas and no Christmas tree. If that's your thing, would you not have a Christmas tree? All right. Anyway, let me get through this video.
Well, I think I have a pretty good pulse on it. Pastoring a church, and actually, the reason I wrote the article is here you go. Here's my thoughts. Here you go. And just answering this question so much. And here, I'm just going to shoot you straight. What's happening is the holiday, as it stands, is a dark holiday. It's a demonic holiday. How the world celebrates it, the sacrifices. I'm here in the Mojave Desert, and there's some interesting things happen on October 31st. That's actually why our church is having a worship service that night and not doing anything with Halloween. But you have those who are recognize that it's evil. They don't even want to go there. They don't want to play around with that. And some of them have a very loving, gracious heart. They can navigate those waters. But then you have a legalistic side where, if you have a pumpkin in your home or fall decor up and you just smell like Halloween, they're coming at you because it's just,
it's not pumpkin spice. It's not pumpkin spice.
Anything with Halloween. And so they just tend to get way carried away on this side of it. But I think sometimes the heart is okay because they call it the devil's holiday. And it really.
Let me point that out. He didn't go the direction I thought he was going to go. But what he did just point out is the differences that Christians have when it comes to understanding what they are being taught in the book. Now, I did speak to that because you have some Christians that's going to say this on this side. Well, I guess he kind of going into what I said, but that's just it. It's split. It's going to be split because the book deals with interpretation. Okay, not confirmation, interpretation. Okay, that's why I called it splitting hairs, because he made it to be a way that is sinful on one end, but you can do it no sinful on the other end. So Christians are going to make up what they want about it based on their beliefs. I'm gonna just put that up what Bruce said, y'all, right quick. Check out what Bruce said. That's why he called it splitting hairs, because he made it to be a way. He said that it's sinful on one end. That's the way this guy painted it. Sinful on one end, it may be okay on the other end. That's what we're talking about, that middle ground. All right, let's get back to the video and see what else they got for us.
really is at its core. And then those in the middle who say this is not a good holiday, but we're gonna, we'll talk about harvest festivals. Maybe we're gonna have some pumpkin spice latte. We're gonna have some pumpkin seeds. We're gonna have worship on. We're gonna celebrate Jesus. And so, but then you have the carnal, which the Christian. How many of these people are maybe not even Christians? And so I don't want to blow them out of the water. I shouldn't expect them to see what I see, because maybe they're new in their faith. They've always done this. They don't understand the ramifications. So those people, I want to be gentle and gracious and understanding, but at the same time point out like, hey, be careful here, because I believe you can open some doors. If you go, let's say you go to a party and you're a Christian and there's alcohol involved and maybe there's a Ouija board, there's a seance. I mean, a high percentage of Americans have sought mediums. What's a recent survey? 43% or
Bro, hold on.
in the heart.
Hold on,
So
wait.
it's
like he's saying that like you automatically could assume that any Halloween party you go to, they breaking out the Ouija board and doing all kind of debauchery in the party. Not all. I'm not saying it's not happening, but not all. And also notice the light he's speaking of when it comes to the difference with the Christians. He's making it sound like the ones new in the faith are the ones that are okay with the celebration of Halloween. All right, did y'all get that? Let me know if that's what y'all got. The ones that are new are the ones that would still want to go to a Halloween party and things of that nature. However, when you go to the Bible and you start looking at those that had a problem with things that were offered to idols being eaten at church and things of that nature, it was the new people calling it out and saying that's what we eat or that's what we offer to idols, but now we're Christian. Y'all shouldn't be doing that. That was the issue in the Bible. It was flipped. It was the other way around. These individuals, the new people, were like hyper, kind of like, all right, I don't know about y'all, but one of the first things I did when I was a teenager and when I got baptized, one of the first things that I knew I had to stop doing, that I threw out the window, was I wanted to stop cussing. So I ain't gonna use no profanity because I just got baptized. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say this or I ain't gonna say that because I just got baptized. Because you're a new Christian, you try to do it right. So I just want to make sure y'all hearing that too. Did I back this thing all the way up? I don't want to lose all that time. I don't know where it was. Did it go all the way back there, y'all? I was up here. All right, let's see.
The first time, and you've updated it,
right.
And it really strikes the balance that you just spoke to. So I would encourage people to go to your website and read that article and check it out because there's so much good insight in there. Now, this is going to sound like kind of a silly question because you've already kind of mapped it out.
Right.
But why do you think Christians are so? I mean, there's such. I can't worked up about it. It becomes very difficult to even have a conversation about Halloween. Why do you think this becomes one of those issues that is just so elevated in that infighting?
Well, I think I have a pretty good pulse on it, pastoring a church. And actually the reason I wrote the article is here's my thoughts. Here you go, and just answering this question so much. And here, I'm just going to shoot you straight. What's happening is the holiday as it stands is a dark holiday. It's a demonic holiday. How the world celebrates it, the sacrifices. I'm here in the Mojave Desert.
It's a demonic holiday, but there's a middle ground. Okay.
And there's some interesting things happen on October 31st. And that's actually why our church is having a worship service that night and not having to do anything with Halloween. But you have those who are recognize that it's evil. They don't even want to go there. They don't want to play around with that. And some of them have a very loving, gracious heart. They can navigate those waters. But then you have a legalistic side where, if you have a pumpkin in your home or fall decor up and you just smell like Halloween, they're coming at you because it's just,
it's not pumpkin spice. It's not pumpkin spice. I'm
anything to do with Halloween. And so they just tend to get way carried away on this side of it. But I think sometimes the heart is okay because they call it the devil's holiday, and it really is at its core. And then
but there's a middle ground. It's a devil's holiday at its core, but there's a middle ground.
In the middle to say this is not a good holiday, but we'll talk about harvest festivals maybe. We're going to have some pumpkin spice latte. We're going to have some pumpkin seeds. We're going to have worship on. We're going to celebrate Jesus. And so, but then you have the carnal.
You're gonna celebrate Jesus on the devil's holiday. Okay.
Which the Christian, how many of these people are maybe not even Christians? And so I don't want to blow them out of the water. I shouldn't expect them to see what I see, because maybe they're new in their faith. They've always done this. They don't understand the ramifications. So those people, I want to be gentle and gracious and understanding, but at the same time point out, like, hey, be careful here, because I believe you can open some doors. If you go, let's say you go to a party and you're a Christian and there's alcohol involved, and maybe there's a Ouija board, there's a seance. I mean, a high percentage of
alcohol involved. It's pretty vague. Is alcohol wrong? Paul told Timothy to drink a little wine for thy stomach's sake, and that was a medicinal reason, granted. Y'all remember the story of the Good Samaritan? Notice he poured wine in his wounds, and then he used some oil, because the wine had alcoholic content in it and would help clean the wound. This is the ideal behind the wine and the healing. Then the oil comes behind, helps with the healing. But anyway, just want to throw that out there. Just throw that out there.
Percentage of Americans have sought mediums. What's a recent survey? 43% or something, that million Americans have sought mediums, the dark realm. And so you have this all thrown together now at Halloween. And so that's why I'm trying to navigate these waters and understand both sides. So that's why it's so volatile. These people want to celebrate it, and they probably shouldn't be. These people are very legalistic, and you've got this colliding and this fighting going on.
Yeah, and that's so interesting, because you also spoke to something before that I think is incredibly important in life in general. As believers, we should understand, here is what the truth is about something. And the truth about Halloween, in full disclosure, I did not know this for many years either, and you were speaking to it before. There is a whole evil history to this. The Celts would hold this festival essentially, and it was—
I'm really need to get to this middle ground that he talking about he got, y'all. Let me see if I can fast forward a little bit.
I'd love for you to speak to this. Ephesians 6, this message of this battle over good and evil that is going on in our world. I think a lot of churches have abandoned discussing this reality. When you don't discuss that, and then you have a holiday where people don't know the history of it and they think it's all in fun, those seem to be really important things to remedy and understand, I would think.
It also talks about exposing the unfruitful works of darkness. So we are called to see. To me, it boils down to the heart. There's a lot of critical hearts out there. I call them judgmental Jerrys or modern day Pharisees. And boy, they're going to criticize just our conversation because we didn't take their exact position. Those critical hearts need to be repented of, and they're hurting. They're doing a lot of damage as well. But the issue with pastoring and Ephesians and warning people and letting them know, hey, witches, warlocks, not good. Darkness should never entertain us. It should never be something that we celebrate, and it should never be something we gravitate toward.
Darkness should never entertain you. Hey, Christians, stop watching the horror movies, okay? It's not good for you. Don't watch the horror movies. It's not good for you. Why isn't it good for me? I'll tell you why it's not good for you. It's not good for you because you're already using your imagination to believe that a bearded guy up in the sky is watching you every second of the day. So your imagination might go a little bit off the hinges, and you might start believing all the stuff you see in the horror flick. You might think that's real. I don't know. Yeah, let me. All right, I am. Yeah. So, any of y'all ever grew up watching what it was called Child's Play, right? Chucky. Remember the doll, Chucky? Y'all remember though the beginning? Y'all remember? Let me go to the screen. Hold on. Let me say this right quick, y'all. Let me see. Do y'all remember Chucky and how Chucky got started, right? Even Christmas has evil. Yeah, it does. Y'all remember how, excuse me, how Chucky got started? So the guy's about to die. He makes his way into, I think it was a toy store, and he remembered this chant, I guess, that some evil voodoo witch doctor had taught him. And he takes out the good guy doll, lays his hand on it, says the chant, and he's saying this stuff, right? And I'm saying all this to say, some of y'all know. You probably had relatives and parents tell when that came on and you start saying that junk, you probably had some people say, don't be saying that junk in my house. You don't know what kind of demons you calling up here. You better not say what the man was saying over the dog because man, when calling that evil stuff in my crib. Yeah, I was the only one. Okay, never mind.
It should be a repulsion. So I would even encourage people, if you love witches and warlocks and dressing up like this, examine your heart in light of the darkness and knowing this. But we have to be careful because even Easter is rooted in Estar, the fertility goddess of Estar.
Whoa, yeah, we gotta be careful. Oh, we gotta be careful because I'm glad he said, because I was gonna say it later. Yeah, you gotta be careful because Ishtar, the goddess Ishtar, is where we get Easter. It was a goddess of fertility, which happens around that time. But the Christians say, "Ah, that's Good Friday. That's when Jesus rose from the dead." Anyway, we'll play through that.
Star. That's why the little eggs and bunny rabbits and even Christmas is rooted in the practices of secularism. And so,
he said it. Christmas. Somebody had a comment here. Who said it? Like Christmas. Even Christmas has roots, from what I understand. That's what he's saying right now. Even Christmas.
But can we redeem the theme of these? Absolutely. Easter. It's Resurrection Sunday and Christmas and Christ being rose from the dead and or actually being born that day, and Halloween and Jesus overcoming the darkness. And so I think we do have a responsibility to educate, back to your question, and let people know, hey, here's what it's about. Take it to the Lord, but not be the Holy Spirit, meaning pushing them and forcing them and controlling them. And that's why the article lovingly points out, and I challenge people, hey, with your witches and warlocks and spiders and death and skeletons in the front yard, isn't that unsettling to your spirit? And no, not at all. We love it. So I would
look at how subjective this is, y'all. Which is then he says spiders. Okay. Like in my Kevin Hart. Okay. Listen. Yes, okay. A lot of y'all are afraid of spiders. I get it. But there is nothing inherently evil about it. It's just nature. See how we just throw things in it? This is really about to get very subjective and very offensive if you look at it a certain way.
I would encourage those people to really check where they're at spiritually, because if you're filled with the Holy Spirit, or at least, even if you're quenching or grieving the Holy Spirit, there would be a desire not to celebrate darkness. So again, back to the critical hearts, we had.
You know what? Fun fact. Yeah, I'll just put my camera on me. Hey, fun fact, y'all. Christians walk around with a cross that still has Jesus on it.
Had in harvest festivals, if you want to touch on that, we had a couple at our church who no longer goes there. They would open their house and to trick-or-treaters, and they cooked around 250 hot dogs, gave them out with gospel tracts. There's a lot of fruit, a lot of prayer with people, but they still caught criticism because they were celebrating. So I don't know. Can't we be the light in that darkness? I mean, it's.
Can I ask you a question about that, though, as a pastor? And I know that, and I'm going to ask this question because I think it's an important question. And I've heard critics say this. if a church says we don't want any part of Halloween, we don't like Halloween, which is fine, it's fine if you feel conviction on it, as you were saying. But if you hold an event that night that has candy and it's a party and you're calling it a harvest festival, is that still a form of celebrating Halloween in some way?
Ooh, good question. Now, Eli says yes. I say yes. That's why you're doing it. You wouldn't even be doing that if that didn't already exist as a day, or you wouldn't be doing it. You do something else. So have your own day, whatever. But I'm saying yes. Let's see what the pastors say.
Well, it goes back to the word, celebrating Halloween. So we shouldn't celebrate the concept of Halloween, the word of Halloween, the background of Halloween. That shouldn't be celebrated. But can we redeem that theme? In other words, this night of darkness, can we instead have a place to where the kids go and are filled with God's word? Worship is on instead. Maybe if they want to dress up as a Bible character. And the people say, but no.
Hey, hold on. Y'all, I wasn't sharing that. I was like, dang, I wasn't sharing that. Well, y'all heard it, right? Let's do this. I'm gonna go back for y'all. Well, basically, he's asked the question, can the holiday be redeemed? Can you somehow turn it into a good thing? Let me back up a few seconds because I thought I was sharing it, y'all. I apologize. All right, here we go. Let's back up a few seconds and get what he's saying.
In the background of Halloween, that shouldn't be celebrated. But can we redeem that theme? In other words, this night of darkness, we instead have a place to where the kids go and are filled with God's word? Worship is on instead. Maybe they want to dress up as a Bible character. And the people say, but no, it's rooted in this and this. I got that. But I think we need to be careful because we can't if Christ truly has overcome hell, death, and the grave, Christ stands higher than anything else. He is the light. He is the one to be adored. Can't we focus on him and have him overcrowd and overshadow the darkness and celebrate what he has done on this day? And we actually don't do a harvest festival. I don't know if we have maybe one in the past 10 years, but instead we have a worship service like this Sunday. We are worshiping God. The kids might be in the service, but we will have maybe some snacks and things for them, something fun for them to do, as well as learning about God's word. So on one hand, churches have that leeway, but they need to be careful that they're not, if they're having costume contests and they dress up however they want. And
hey, can you have a costume contest? This dude just said you can't have Hey, I know Christians would be divided over that. You can't have a costume contest. You mean we can't vote on who the best Jesus? Who look more like Jesus? You don't even know what Jesus looked like. I know what he looked like. I bet you 1,000% I know what Jesus looks like. Y'all don't think I know? Let me give you the answer. Jesus, dang, they actually knocking on my door for some candy. I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing. So I really don't have anything. I would. I'm in support of the day, but I don't have anything. Okay. Jesus looks however you imagine he looks. How about that? That's true. That's the truth.
And jack-o'-lanterns and the witches, and I think we just do need to be careful. And you'll probably see the more secularized churches, the ones that trying to get the big numbers, and it's.
Hey, let me ask y'all, what was y'all favorite thing? Let me get that in the chat. What was y'all favorite thing? If you had some Halloweens, what was y'all favorite thing to dress up as on Halloween? What was your favorite thing? For me, I remember what I remember to be my very first costume in kindergarten. First, I was Dracula. And then it seemed like everything, except for this one year, I was actually Chuck Norris. Show you how long ago. This was back in like 80, 88 or something like that. But after that, my favorite thing was a ninja. I wanted to be a ninja every Halloween. A ninja. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted the most authentic, realist ninja uniform and sword I could find. The hottest character, Jessica, the king, witch. Somebody. The hottest cartoon character that was in at the time. That's what you wanted to be. Some try to say she wanted to be Barbie. And baby girl wanted to be a witch. Man, I wanted to be a straight up sneak around, climbing trees, maybe steal some candy. Ninja. Like for real, I wanted to be a ninja. But anyway, let's see if we can get it. We might make it through the end of the video.
It's all about tickling the ear and not challenging the heart. They call it the seeker friendly, and you're definitely going to see them more liberal on this end, and you'll probably see the more fundamentalist not on that end.
Well, you navigate this so well. And before we go, I want to talk to you about what you're doing at your church, because you mentioned this. You guys have been having, correct me if I'm wrong, a service.
I can tell you what he's doing. I can tell you that he ain't telling the truth. I can tell you that. We're going to end the video with that right there. I'm going to stop sharing. And we'll have some comments. Look, my son was Jason, daughter was a vampire. Hey man, Braveheart, Optimus Prime, really? And there's some good ones, y'all. Some good ones. And put this up. Those some good ones up. Now, one thing I'll point out before I get ready to go here, I want to say that sometimes Christians will try to point out, this is what I wrote in my notes earlier, try to point out and place blame on the devil and Halloween because of the bad things that happen. I read an article earlier about, and I think this happened this year, a few days ago. What is it supposed to be, the day before or 2 days before Halloween is the devil's birthday or something like that, and a bunch of crime and vandalism and things starts to happen. Somewhere, I think it was somewhere in Chicago, it says that this happened. So Christians try to give the day, okay, a bad day, or a bad rep because of what some people choose to do as a result of Halloween being a day dedicated to the dead. And far as I know, Christians don't get too bent out of shade about Santa Muerte and the Day of the Dead that they have. I want to say down in a lot of South America countries, in Bolivia. Shout out to my Ghost Recon people. If you don't play Ghost Recon, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you do, shout out to you. Hit me up, Soldier Boy 007 on PlayStation. Anyway, but this thing right here, y'all, this thing right here, when you start talking about them saying the day is no good, the day is no good, and all this evil stuff happened, tell them don't forget about what Christians have done. The Inquisition. How about slavery? Huh? They justified slavery based on what is taught in their book. And that is pretty evil. Slavery. And I'm not talking about slavery even in the biblical sense. I'm talking about right here in the Americas, 18th century America, using the Bible to support chattel slavery. They used the Bible to support that. And some of them genuinely felt that that's what they were supposed to do, enslave these melanated people because whatever reason, I don't know, bullcrap. Let me see what else we got, y'all. I'm about to get out of here. Let's see what else we got. At the end of the day, I think holidays are money grabs. And the big, you know what? Right you are. Because I did not, because it was a day for me and I had to do some other research. So, but yeah, there's billions to be made on these days and all of these different holidays. And that's not, I'm not knocking you for that. You know, if you want to have fun, have fun. But that is true. All billions and billions of dollars are being had by these holidays. Companies bank on these holidays, Black Friday being a big one. Some of y'all saving up for Black Friday coming around. You need to be saving around or have saved up for what's probably going to happen tomorrow. Because if the Fed drop these or raise rather, if the Fed raise these interest rates, I've been hearing that things in the stock market is supposed to plummet. For those of you that invest, that means there's blood in the streets. That means it's time to eat. But only if you've been prepared with your money. If you want to get at me about that, though, if you want to, you know, y'all can inbox me. I'm not a major investor. I do a little bit. And shoot, you know, I'll hit you up, or you can hit me up and I'll send you some links and you can get started by using my links or whatever. But y'all hit me up only if you're interested. I ain't put none of that in the description or nothing. Y'all know how to support me. I'll put that on. I'll do that. Let me look at some more comments still. Okay, that's just giving honor to the ancestors. It's not evil. Right. So you know what? I saw a meme the other day, baby girl, and it said it was dealing with how somebody was worshiping a tree or let's say another animal, a cow, whatever. But the meme was pointing out the fact that the tree is real. It's real. What about those worshiping what's just simply in their head, just made up? Not that it's a real thing. That was the whole point because you had somebody I think here locally in Jacksonville. I think her name was Kimberly Daniels or something. Said some foolishness. She thanked God for slavery because if it wasn't for slavery, she'll probably still be in Africa worshiping a tree or something. Anyway, that's what some local politician here near Jacksonville, Florida said. Day of the Dead, I believe, is one of those holidays. Yes, yes. And it's big in South America. Santa Muerte is, and they have whole churches, from what I understand, dedicated to the angel of death. Okay, uh, down there in that culture. So it's now 3 minutes till y'all. Listen, I'm just thankful for y'all for rocking with me. Y'all don't go just yet. What I want to do is I want to put the Chief Kali song back on. I'm gonna put this song back on, and I want y'all to be able to enjoy it. Let's see. How about all of the evil that happens every other day of the year? Child abuse, murder, laws for it, disenfranchised certain race. This stuff, yeah, fight that. Good comment. Excellent comment. Thanks, Texas, for your comment there. So y'all, as I get out of here, y'all know how I do. Peace. I wanted to say, y'all remember this while y'all out there in your battles. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. It's simple, but you gotta think about it. That's true. And then Christopher Hitchens, the Hitchens razor. What can be asserted without evidence can also be dismissed without evidence. Christopher Hitchens, appreciate him on that. Now, without further ado, Mahad D's, I'm going to share this screen. And y'all remember, truth is my only religion. And also, I'm going to send y'all out with the words of Chief Kali. You can find God in anything you reflected in. Peace.
You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflected in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflected in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything. Some people open up their eyes to see the world they know outside. I can close my eyes and see all that and way beyond. When these trials come heavy and the obstacles get hard, feeling like I need answers, I just go and talk to God. I just go and talk to God when I'm looking for guidance. Need more than sight, need vision, need direction when I'm blinded. Then I start that conversation with that voice I hear inside me, and that conversation starts with a voice inside that sounds just like me when I talk to God. You can see God in anything, your reflection. I can find God in anything. When I talk to God, you can see God in anything. When I talk to God, find God in anything. When I talk to God, my dad said don't never assume, ask questions. It's ironic it was that advice that helped the song happen. It was also that advice that led me to my life's blessings. That same advice helped me make it through life's lessons. It was that advice that separates grown-ups away from children. That advice can be the difference from knowing or just believing. It was that advice that brought the gavel down on my decision of breaking the mental chains of these man-created religions to straighten belief. Nonsense, the biggest scam ever. I hate to say it. I split this one hell of a mental illness. No other time. Why we do it with these religions? The fact that COVID's killing while all of these guys is missing. Peekaboos, guys playing games with you. I'ma assume he ain't got no COVID miracles. Maybe he ran out after making the donkey talk. Some stories about a guy walking on water side. Simply a distraction to keep you away from you and to look outside for a guy when the God is inside of you. When you close your eyes at night, that what you talking to. When you ready to face the truth, you realize that voice is you. You can find anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.